Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at the new and improved Glashutte Original SeaQ 39mm with an exhibition caseback now. So if you're new to this channel, this is where we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. In this video, deep dive in this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout this video, you're having some questions about this watch, looking to buy it. Link will be in the description down below to the product page. Without further ado, jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. While watch collectors talk about brands originating from Switzerland and Japan on a regular basis, it's less often that they speak of the exceptional watchmaking coming from Germany. But it's a tradition that I am a huge fan of, especially the watch industry centered around the small town of Glashütte. This quaint town is a watchmaking powerhouse, nothing short of that, and it's home to 9 watch manufacturers alone, and this is a town less than 10,000 people in population, with one of its leading standouts being the brand that we're going to be looking at today, Glashutte Original. The modern incarnation of Glashutte Original was born in 1994, but one thing that needs to be understood about this brand and why it's called original or original is because of where the history of this brand originates. You actually have to look back when there was a consolidation of German watchmaking in Glashutte during Soviet occupation. There was an entity known as the GUB. After that unraveling of the Soviet occupation, the fall of the Berlin Wall, you saw German watchmaking in Glashutte surge with this new renaissance. And of that GUB, which was that consolidation of all of these brands, including A. Lange & Söhne and many others that represented this nation for years before that point, this was the living entity that represented this region. And Glashutte Original today is that direct connection to the past of that original watchmaking of the region. Their commitment to fine German craftsmanship is still upheld, and they celebrate traditions the town is known for, nearly doubling the Glashutte standard that states a watch must have undergone at least 50% of its essential manufacturing stages in Glashutte to be labeled as a Glashutte watch, in the case of GO being 95%. The subject of today's review, the Glashutte Original SeaQ, is a modern evolution of the 1969 Spesamatic Type RP TS200, Glashütte's very first purpose-built dive watch. And while the modern SeaQ is firmly in the luxury category, more to the end of high horology, its design language and visual cues clearly pay tribute to the TS200. Its skin diver case contours remain, as does its big Arabic numeral font, but the presentation is highly elevated, matching the level of fit and finish throughout the greater Glashutte Original catalog, with this latest version getting 2 important updates: a 39mm case now with an exhibition caseback and a brushed bracelet. While the SeaQ's case follows the conventions of skin divers throughout history, this version returns to the mid-century sizing dimensions. The SeaQ has a 39.5mm diameter, a case height around 12mm, and a tidy 47mm lug-to-lug, positioning the SeaQ as an easy wearer for smaller to medium-sized wrists. For those that want a larger presence, of course, you do have the larger panorama date SeaQs that exist with its elevated caliber on the inside, but given the price and positioning, the finishing here follows the idea overall, being cuts above the traditional watches of the dive genre. If you recall, in the original 39mm SeaQ, there was more polishing on the bracelet. This time, the hits of polishing come with the clean chamfer running the case length and with the edging on the bezel and crown. The case top is brushed, including the bracelet center links, which is new, and the case sides are exquisitely satin finish in a vertical array. A 6mm sign screw-down crown helps achieve the 200 meters of water resistance and features a deeply grooved texture for a secure grip, along with the negative relief Glashutte Original double G logo. When the crown is pulled out, it also does have a indication that will show that the crown is pulled out, making sure that you are not going to have this unscrewed in the case that you do put it through its paces in aquatic environments. A unidirectional dive watch bezel offers 120 clicks of precision with a well-finished coin edge and a vibrant green ceramic insert. The insert is fully demarcated with Arabic numerals every 10 minutes and a lume triangle at 12. The box section sapphire crystal offers a welcome bit of vintage style with the curved edges distorting the dial elements when viewed at an angle, and an anti-reflective coating reduces glare for unimpeded enjoyment. These watches are also compliant to both the ISO and the DIN, or the German standard for a dive watch, making for a watch that might be more refined than most divers, but still is very much capable as pretty much any watch out there. The square tip lugs are 20 millimeters apart, making for easy strap swapping if you do choose. And the SeaQ is available on both a tropic style rubber or synthetic fabric strap. However, the bracelet is one of the best in all of watchmaking. It is comfortable, it's refined, and exhibits nearly all the bells and whistles a modern watch buyer could look for in a bracelet. All of the bracelet links can be removed in order to get a precise fit, and just in case you can't get a precise fit there, you also have this very slick on-the-fly adjustment in the milled clasp. So you have a dual button release that will just release the strap, but the on-the-fly adjustment is hidden. It gives you around 7 millimeters of tool-free change, and it can be accessed by pressing the Polish GO button on the clasp, being able to adjust while the watch is even on your wrist. I can't sing the praises of this bracelet enough. I have one personally on my Glashutte Original Panamatic Lunar. I have a green dial version, and it completely transforms the look. That's not a watch that maybe some people think would look great on a bracelet, but in my opinion, it does, and the bracelet is just so amazing for everyday wear. As you'd expect, an equal amount of care goes into Glashutte Original's dial making process, presented here in what the brand calls varnish reed green. To add another step to GO's capability, the brand also operates its own dial making factory, where the multi-step process to produce this dial takes place. This includes drilling and polishing the dial blank before galvanization, applying the texture to the dial, you have pad printing for the dial text and the minute markers, and then the final application of the indices. The end result is miles beyond a typical dial made by using mass production techniques, and it really bears upon closer inspection. As far as the layout itself, the SeaQ follows the formula of the classic skin diver dial, with large applied Arabic numerals alternating with rectangular indices at 5-minute intervals, with the metal framed applied elements getting a healthy dose of superluminova. It is upon closer inspection where you really get a sense of how well the finishing is on this dial. It has dimension in the details that also excel in legibility. The hands are broad with a pencil hour hand and an arrow-tipped minute hand, while the second hand utilizes a round loom lollipop indicator. A color-matched date wheel peeks through the white frame date window at 3, and the dial text is refreshingly minimal, with just 2 lines below 12 and a single line above 6 indicating Glashütte in Saxony, a key signature of a Glashütte watch. So I've taken a look at the SeaQ before, as many of you know, and if you remember, a view of the movement was reserved for the panorama date SeaQs at 43 millimeters and all gold models of the SeaQ at 39.5 millimeters. This was always a point that I called out as a minor criticism. Most of the time, I could care less whether a movement is on display in a dive watch, but with Glashutte Original, you're getting an in-house manufactured caliber more in alignment with high horology, where I think you should be able to lock eyes with the attractive caliber in which you paid, as it's a point of separation from other brands in the mix. Well, it appears that GO perhaps was listening, as we now have view of the caliber 39-11 through the Sapphire Exhibition caseback. Glashutte Original is rightly proud of their movement finishing, and here's the evidence to prove it. We have Glashütte stripes on the skeletonized rotor and central bridge with a sunray pattern at its outskirts and a fine reflective grain. Screw heads and the swan neck are polished with hits of anglage and a snail pattern reduction wheel working with the ball bearing rotor. As far as performance, the 3911 runs at 28,800 vibrations per hour or 4 hertz, hacks and hand winds, hacking stopping the seconds when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and has a reserve of around 40 hours plus or minus 5%, with these watches going through a variety of tests in the process. Now, some might be asking, well, what if I purchased a previous SeaQ at this case size with the closed case back? Can I get this swapped? The short answer is yes. As of right now, at the time of recording this video, this is something that Glashutte Original is doing. Now, with the looming tariff situation, I don't know if that might change in the future, but given the information that I have been provided now, you can send this in to your authorized dealer. If that was us, feel free to do so, and then we can get this handled for you. I'm hearing it's a few $100s to have this change happen, and they will send back the watch with a Sapphire Exhibition case back and include the closed case back with the return package as well. So you'll still have that option if down the road you did want to go ahead and swap back to it. So now for some closing thoughts when looking at the GO SeaQ 39mm, now new for 2025 with some of these updates. So let's start with some of the cons and then shift to the pros for these watches. I think the first thing that people bring up when they're looking at Glashütte from the dive watch standpoint, and really just any dive watch outside of the Rolex Submariner, as you're looking over $10,000 nowadays, if there's not like precious metal involved, is, what is the reason to go for a watch like this. And I think when you're going for the competition right now, it's a very specific type of buyer that would go for a Glashutte Original SeaQ versus something that might be a bit more showy and more well-known, like the Submariner, for example. So that is something that some people will call. You have to determine, well, who are you? Are you the type of individual that cares about this type of thing or not? But I know that a lot of people, when they think about value retention, things of this sort, they like to go for the Rolex Submariner just because of some of these points rather than this. Another aspect is this is not going to have the premium movement in comparison to the panorama date. So if you do have a wrist that could make both of these work, the panorama date version is just the more superior watch from the movement standpoint, from the date function, and also the water resistance. It is going to have that higher degree in standard. You're also getting the gold weight on the rotor and getting the additional power reserve as a byproduct. So this is just something to weigh out the pros and cons of. Are you okay with this mid-size and maybe saving some money in the process, or do you want to go for all the bells and whistles of what the SeaQ has to offer? That's where you go to the panorama date version. So now let's shift over to some of the pros, and I think where you really need to start here is looking at the competition. You talk about the Rolex Submariner that we previously discussed. You have the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, which can also be in this range. And then you have this watch, maybe something like the Omega Seamaster below this watch in terms of where it's positioned. But I would say the big three for this above $10,000 price tag, what can you look towards? It is the Submariner, it is this watch, and it is the 50 Fathoms. Like, those are going to be your big three in this price segment. Where most people go is no more questions asked, let's just go for the Rolex. But if you're somebody that wants something a little bit different, you want more of a shift to craftsmanship, being a true manufacturer as well as Rolex is too, but do it with a bit more of artisanal finishing and technique and getting the German spin on a luxury dive watch. This is where Glashütte is that pinnacle. This is the leading dive watch and premium dive watch from Germany, no question about it. This 39.5mm SeaQ, before some of these updates, was already in this class of leaders when it comes to a dive watch. But I think where I was seeing most of the feedback is people tend to agree with me that they'd like to see the movement on these watches. And it seems like the polished center link, especially for how wide that center link is, people seem to also prefer, given the skin diver approach, to have this be completely brushed. Well, Glashütte answered those questions, and I think if you're looking to spend top dollar on a dive watch and you're considering these three pillars of dive watch design, history, and what is being brought forth, if you want to go the German route, you want something that's to the mid-size case with a lot of artisanal practice in the process, the SeaQ absolutely has to be on the list as one of the greatest watches currently in the market in watchmaking. The dial finishing is fantastic, case finishing is wonderful, the bracelet is, like I mentioned, one of the best in the entire industry for a dive watch. There's tons of hands finishing and regulation that are coming with these watches, and in many ways, this is a dive watch that is a love letter to German watchmaking, but also that pinnacle of sports watchmaking that comes out of Germany, from a region that I love, and I think so many other people that have delved into this world of what it has to offer has also fallen in love with. All right, guys, that's all we have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please give this one a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Really do appreciate that. That does help out the channel as well, so thanks again for it. Also, if you are in the market for the watch being reviewed here today, it is available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is an authorized dealer for over 35 brands. Every purchase from our website comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, in addition to that, you have further questions, check out our team on live chat. We'll be in the bottom right corner of our website. Feel free to reach out to us there for any questions about a watch on our website you're looking to purchase. We're there around 18 hours a day. That is not AI down there. Those are real people, and we'd love to be able to help you out. And in addition, how we're able to keep doing what we do on the main channel and producing content every single week is through selling watches. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd absolutely love to have your business. Allow us to keep doing what we're doing here. We love what we do. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.